I'm Gab, he's Jules. Blue skies over West London. If I sound a little weird, I'm sorry. I'm just off an intercontinental flight, but I rushed back, Jules, because we got to do the show.
Yes, of
because
course.
there's so much going on.
Yeah.
There's the Ballon d'Or. There's Ekitike's moment of absolute stupidity. I
Yeah.
don't even know how to define that. Tons to get into, but we're going to start with Real Madrid and Levante. Now, resounding win. I think this is a game where, like, obviously Vinicius was in the obvious spotlight because of
Yeah.
Song before and rumors and people. I mean, Chiringuito and Marca even saying like, "Oh, he could leave in January. He does have a contractual issue. Is he sulking?" And then he goes out, and that goal kind of reminds you.
Yeah, how good he is, really. Even if all around, especially in that first half, it was not always the threat that he should be considering his talent, but it's a wonderful goal outside of his right foot. I think even he said after the game, one of the best goals he's ever scored, and rightly so. In a Real Madrid team where we saw again a different system from Xabi Alonso.
It was
with a
almost
kind
a
of back
3-5-2.
three. Yeah,
Yeah.
completely. I thought you can say that. Mastantuono almost as a right wing back in a game where they had a lot of the ball, obviously, and I'm not sure you can play like that against Barcelona or even Atletico Madrid, etc. We'll see at the weekend for the derby, but certainly against a team like Levante that is a small team, but also that plays a lot. I thought it was very good what Levante did at times. I think Julian Calero is a good coach, and there's a lot of good things they do there. But it was probably the right time for Xabi Alonso to go again with that formation. No Chouameni, Fran Garcia on the left-hand side, which I thought worked really well with Vini. And then another 2 goals from Mbappe and the first one from Mastantuono. So overall, a very good night, which was magnified, I think, by the Vini goal.
Yeah, Vini also had the assist for Mastantuono on the second one. And, like, I don't want to overlook this guy, and nor do I want to hype him up. But, hey, this is part showbiz, right?
Yeah.
So the pass from Vini, he gets the assist and great points for vision. It's actually not a great pass. It's actually behind him. He has to break his stride to collect it. And then he goes forward, and the defender's there. And I'm like, okay, he's gonna come on to a stronger foot. He's gonna do a little move. He doesn't. He finishes with his right foot, which is the guy's a left-footed player.
Yeah.
That to me speaks volumes about the confidence this kid has, the intensity. I mean, this is a number 10 who lands in Madrid. Obviously read up about Xabi Alonso. This is what I like about him. This is what I imagine. Maybe none of this is true. But I imagine him saying, hey, look, Vini's really good, but he gets criticized because he's lazy. Mbappe got criticized last year, didn't work enough off the ball. There's so much competition. Xabi Alonso likes wide players who work and track back. If you have a prayer of getting into this team, you can't be, look at me, I'm number 10, because there's lots of great number 10s. There's lots of people who can match your talent. You got to go. I have to go and I have to show him my work rate. And he's an absolute beast up and down that wing.
Yeah, he's strong. I mean, I think he had that before at River. I don't think this is new. I think he worked hard at River. He played wide at River on the right-hand side, so same position, really. And I think when you're that age, if you don't run at that age, I mean, when are you going to run? You know, he's got all that energy. And he kind of also, I know not all South Americans, and we can't do like generalization, but they kind of have that hunger. I think sometimes, like some of them
to work hard off the ball. Well, we've just been hammering Vini, who's also South American.
Like Argentine, Uruguayans, those kind of players, I think have or can have that in their locker.
Yes.
But he's still, and when you think everything you said is true, but you still see him play. And again, this is a game where, let's see at the weekend in the derby against Atletico, where it should not be as open as this, and it was not easy for Real Madrid. But it's still tiny Levante promoted cycling.
He was good against Marseille too.
Yeah. But again, in a no offense to Marseille, but this is not Atletico Madrid. Or certainly what Atletico can offer to counter Real Madrid, I mean. Because there's still moments where he's not far from doing even perfect, and yet there's still that room for improvement in his decision making, some of the decisions. So it's looking really good, I think, from him.
So what you're saying is I shouldn't plan on like the next 15 years of Mastantuono against Lamine Yamal the way it was.
No, you should. Absolutely, you should.
You're putting him in that category.
Yeah. It's just the potential is there. It's we thought the same about Rodrigo, and
All right, Jules, more broadly on this, if I can just put this out further, um, there's so many, like, we think of Mbappe and Holland as the next generation, right? Picking up the Messi Ronaldo mantle and whatever, right? But then if you look at sort of the under 22 category, there's so much to get legit excited about, whether it's Lamine Yamal, whether it's Mastantuono, whether it's Kenan Yildiz. There's got to be others I'm forgetting.
Yeah, Desiree Doué, all those kind of guys. Yeah, for sure.
It has me really excited. And I wonder if, obviously, Holland and Mbappe both started the season really well. Although, weirdly, this is actually, Holland, I think, has 8 goals in 5 games.
Yeah.
I know this is his worst start to a season.
Yeah, it usually starts very strongly, doesn't it?
It's crazy. 8 goals in 5 games, and it's your worst start of a season since arriving at Manchester City. I'm. Is there any broader trend that can explain this? These sort of like teenagers who look fully formed.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a cycle or if it's something that is going to be more consistent through the years, and then in 5 years you got the next generation. So the Max Diamond, for example, generation, that one, the 15 who are 15, 16 now, coming through, or if it's just an exceptional generation, which might be the case. I don't know. Obviously, in the Ballon d'Or top 10, only Lamine was that kind of age, but then the others are coming. You're right. So it's very exciting. I just think this generation is impatient, more prepared, more mature than the generation before, even the Mbappe Haaland generation, who were already top in terms of like kind of Mbappe project, if you want, of like being already professional before you are professional. It's funny you said that because I was in Rennes 2 weeks ago to do something on Dembele in case he won the Ballon d'Or with some of the people who coached him when he was like 14, 15, etc. And the kind of head of the academy there said that even under 14, 15, for players who are at the Rennes Academy, which is the best academy in France, probably top 5 in Europe, if not top 3 in Europe, they train and play 6 days of the week. The Sunday is usually the day where they don't have anything, so they can rest. At that age, you need to rest. And yet, every Sunday, pretty much the whole under 14 squad, under 15 squad have one-on-one coaching session with a private coach that the parents pay for to coach their kids on a Sunday. And this is something you would have never seen 10 years ago, 15. And I believe not just Rennes, but there's a lot of academies where the players get more coaching from outside, even when you are top academies like the Rennes one or the Arsenal one or the City one, which is something that would have never happened before. So I think they are so much more prepared mentally, physically, technically to arrive at 15, 16, 17 and say, I'm here and I'm ready to play.
It's interesting, the individual coaching side of it. Normally, like you said, it's something you associate with, maybe wealthy parents with kids who want to improve or whatever. You certainly don't imagine that somebody who's in a top academy would go and seek this out outside of football. It's there are examples, but it's very, very rare. Mbappe just continues. That was a legit Panenka.
Yeah, lovely.
I might remind people that I interviewed Panenka. I spoke to the real Panenka. That story's somewhere in the ESPN archives. You can go and check it out. I think the real Panenka would approve of how it was taken. When I saw the lineup, I was wondering, because every time I've seen Carreras play, he looks to me like a winger, like one of those sort of more power wingers than like kind of fleet-footed wingers, right?
Like a better version than Fran Garcia, basically. That's what you mean.
Well, but I wouldn't associate Fran Garcia as little.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking more.
More powerful, you mean? Yeah, okay.
Of a Luis Figo type winger, who plays fullback. That's kind of how, sort of very attacking that way. So when I heard the lineup announced, I thought, oh, that's interesting. I guess Asensio is going to play in the middle with Hyson, and Carreras is going to play on the right. Because certainly traditionally, you imagine if you can play left back, you can probably play right back too. It's not, yes, wrong foot, blah, blah, blah. But there's a lot of players who have done it. It used to be pretty standard.
Yeah.
Instead, he moves them into the center back position. And we can say it's more of a hybrid back three because he doesn't attack them. And we were saying, it was almost like a 3-5-2
Yeah.
that we saw from them. But he didn't miss a beat, I thought.
No, yeah,
And
it was
that
good.
really impressed me. And I didn't realize he had that ability to do that. I mean, he's only a center back in like that kind of back three-ish type thing.
Yeah, I think so. He helped that he was a back three. He helped that he was against Levante. Even if I like a lot Carlos Alvarez, they like young, left-footed right winger. It's a young up front who scored a nice opportunistic goal and who's very talented and has an amazing story considering 3 years ago he was still playing Cameroon. But you do it in this game. You could not leave Carreras and Huijsen as a two in a centre back partnership, for example. So it works there, and it also works because you knew at some point you would play, even if Levante are a little good playing team, you play in their halves, and Carreras is quick, so he's great for recovery, more than Asensio, probably more than Huijsen as well. So I think that worked well in a game where you had 65 or 70% of the ball and an XG of almost like 4 or something. So I think it was a good time to try that. It's probably somewhere in the back of Xabi Alonso's mind to see, okay, who can play there as a left-footed defender. There's no room for Alaba in this team anyway. So Militao is right-footed, Huijsen is right-footed, Asensio is right-footed, Tchouaméni, when he plays centre-back, is right-footed, or in the back three, Rudiger is right-footed. So this is also a good option to have if in a game you need the kind of passing platform with a left-footed player in that position for your build-up.
Which you're not going to get, by the way, when Ferland Mendy returns. Obviously, he's not going to do that. And Fran Garcia is a different sort of player.
Absolutely. That's right.
It's okay. We need to remind people that Carreras was a Manchester United player.
He was indeed.
Your opportunity to troll whatever genius.
Yeah, he was just not good enough, was he? No.
But okay, so I'm going back. Would have been what, 3 years ago? Something like that?
Yeah, something like 3-4 years ago. Yeah.
So did he fall through the crack in that Solskjaer Rangnick period?
I don't think so. Because we can make fun, but every top club at some point have had a young player that was just not the right time and the right environment, I guess is probably the right word for him to shine at that club. So we don't need to go again onto I don't know, some of those clubs and some of those examples. Yeah, like a Mourinho, Mo Salah, and a Mourinho, De Bruyne, and Chelsea. But
I think those are
a bit different because they're later running.
Because they spend money on them. They've already played top flight football. I think this underscores something. I mean, I did a piece with Alessandro Galeni, I think his title is chief football officer or whatever at Genoa, and he really reinforced this notion of pathways for young players, and that you have to have a plan for them. You have to have a pathway because at some point, and for those who don't know, the way it works varies a little bit from league to league, but normally at 16, the vast majority of players sign contracts which are generally for not a lot of money. Usually, sometimes they're mandated to be only 3 years. Sometimes they can be longer. And that's when you kind of make the big call, because normally in year 1 or 2 of that contract, because you don't want it to get to the end because you risk losing them on a free, that's when then you have to commit, and it's usually a 5-year deal. And if they've played first of team football and been really good, if they're Bukayo Saka or whatever, then you will get the big contract. If not, you have to kind of tier that. And I think that's kind of what happened with Carreras. And you need to weigh up who is in front of him in that role.
Yeah.
And at that time, I mean, remind me, it's Luke Shaw.
Yeah.
It's Luke Shaw, and maybe they lost him. Again, I don't know. I have the exact time thing, and I'm sure
I can't remember.
The United Verse will come back and get me on this. I wonder if it was that period where Rangnick was there for only 6 months, and it's not something we can blame
but maybe he was not ready either. Maybe it was just as simple as he hadn't matured in his game, in his personality, mentally, physically. He was just not ready. He's still a young player. At 18, not everybody is ready to play for Manchester United. Whether they're a good United or a bad United or a United crisis.
Listen. Ethan Nwaneri is not ready to start for Arsenal, and yet you think one day he will be, so you give him a big contract.
True.
And you look to develop him. True. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
I don't expect people to be ready at 18 or 19. But if the player is there, it's clearly, I think it's another failure when you lose a player like that in those circumstances, because it's not like he left there to go to Paris Saint-Germain. He left there to go to Benfica. As part of like a recycling project. And again, obviously agents involved. I don't know who represents him. But I'm sure Benfica didn't come along and say, hey, look, we'll pay you 10 times whatever Manchester United, because that's not the economics of it.
No.
Sometimes players move on because they get offered big contracts by other clubs. I mean, young players I'm talking about. Or because they have a fallout with the coaches.
Yeah. I'm not sure United should get the blame here for letting him go. I just don't think he was ready at the time. You can't keep every player when you don't think they're ready for that pathway towards the first team. So, they sold him for a little amount with a percentage, with selling fee. So they got some money in the end for him, not as much as the 50 million that obviously Real Madrid paid Benfica for him. But I think it's inevitable at top clubs. Things like that will always happen.
Yeah, you will make mistakes.
Yeah,
it happens.
absolutely.
And, I could have just mentioned Cole Palmer if you want,
Yeah, exactly.
Jude Bellingham.
Yeah.
We thought he was going to come back much later than he did.
Yeah.
He came on as a sub. And now it's, to use one of those stereotypes we football journalists like to use, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. It's still a problem.
Yeah.
Because you're at Real Madrid. It's the biggest goldfish bowl in the world.
Yeah.
Whatever lineup you put out, you're going to get second guessed.
Yeah.
And you can either rotate players constantly, but then you don't have chemistry. And also players aren't stupid. Hey, look, I don't get to play in the Clásico, but I get to play against Levante or Leganés or whatever. How do we think? All right, first, let me turn this around. Okay, which players are 100% certain that if they're fit, they will start almost every game?
So we look at that midfield three, right?
Well, let's start from the back. Courtois, yeah.
Yeah.
I would have thought Hyson.
Yeah. Carreras, whether it's a left back or a left centre back in this back three.
You think he's that far along that?
Oh yeah,
he's
definitely
ahead of Mendy in front. Okay.
Yeah.
Right back, obviously, no. The other center backs is a revolving feast.
Yeah.
I would have thought Valverde, but now 100%? I'm not so sure.
No, 100% Valverde.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other midfielders up for grabs?
Yeah, although I think Arda Güler, for me, has cemented his place in the starting lineup, Bellingham or no Bellingham. His connection with Mbappe, as we see on the fourth goal and the second from Mbappe, is brilliant. It's not the first time they find each other with their eyes closed. And I think Xabi needs the creativity of Güler. His constant movement is a very different player to Bellingham, obviously. So for me, he's the third. For Bellingham, it's just that third player in that midfield. Okay. So it's him or Tchouaméni or
Camavinga also back.
But that's it.
And then obviously up front, Mbappe is obvious, but Vini, we don't feel that good about. Well, obviously, I mean,
true,
tremendous game, but it doesn't mean he's going to be an automatic choice because I think he might still alternate him with Rodrigo.
Yeah. So
and on the right, Mastantuono's done great so far, but then there's still Brahim Diaz. There's the possibility of
so there's a few options.
So Mastantuono's maybe not 100% certain either.
No. But still ahead of Bellingham in that, unless Xabi changes everything and Bellingham plays on the right hand side, for example, which Carlo did a bit last season.
Which otherwise, he didn't particularly enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. And we didn't enjoy seeing him there either, to be fair.
Could we see a change of formation to a front two?
Maybe you could, you could. Then again, what's your midfield four behind that?
I go back to the basic point. If you're Jude Bellingham at this stage, and Ancelotti did the same thing. Okay, I'm not as sold on Güler as you are. Obviously, he's done phenomenal, but I think Bellingham gives you different things. I think you still have the issue of creativity in midfield. Güler may be more creative than Bellingham, but Bellingham gives you obviously a lot more presence.
Yeah.
I think there's so much give and take, and if I'm Bellingham, I go to him right now and say, boss, I was the best player in La Liga playing at number 10 stroke center forward, but I can play central midfield. I can do what Tchouaméni does. I can do what Valverde does. I can do what Güler does. I can play center forward too.
Yeah.
So I am here for you. Make me a better player. Make me central to your team. Let me carry this team. That is the message I would give if I'm Jude Bellingham. And maybe it is what he's saying. We know he can. We've seen him do it. We've seen him do it, right?
I don't think Xabi Alonso needs Bellingham to carry this team. This team is already carried by Mbappe and maybe a few others. That's why I think it's difficult. It would be difficult for Bellingham to become this central player like he was 2 years ago. I really do. He's a great player, so it's amazing to have, and there might be a space for him somewhere, and Xabi is going to make this work. Amazing. But things have changed from 2 years ago. Last year was already a little bit iffy from him. And this year is 7 wins in 7 games without him. 6 in the league, 1 in the Champions League without him.
I'm with you, but he is Real Madrid.
Yeah.
I think he's still Real Madrid's most expensive player ever. After Cristiano. It's always
and Bale,
Cristiano, right? But I just find it extraordinary that at his age and what he can bring, there's a question about whether he fits into the starting lineup. That kind of shows you how quickly things can change in football. For me, I'd have him in there. I don't know the guy, but if he's a smart guy, and I think he seems to be. I mean, he's got maybe some other issues, but when he speaks, he seems like a smart guy. His future's in central midfield. They cannot be in that number 10 position on this team the way they have it set up. All right, enough of Real Madrid. How about some quick hits instead?
Let's go, Gab.
It's all about the strikers for Liverpool at home to Southampton in the ever so exciting and important League Cup. And your boy, Will Still.
Yes.
Good to see him in his red hair.
Yes.
And he did okay.
Yes.
Alexander Isak gets his first goal since his big money move. But then Hugo Ekitike does something incredibly stupid. Those are Arne Slot's words, not mine. And after bagging the winner.
Yeah, he comes on at halftime or just after halftime, I think, for Isak, then gets a yellow card for kicking the ball away first.
He's tossing it up in the air like a child.
Yeah, then scores the winner. It's a tap-in. Chiesa does all the work.
Thank you, Federico Chiesa. Ti
Very
vedo, Chiesa.
Very good performance, by the way, from Chiesa. And then after scoring this tap-in that you and me, even producer Sam, would have scored.
Thank you.
He takes the shirt off a la Messi to show his number in a League Cup game. I don't even know what round this is, like last 16 round or whatever. To the fans, pointing at his name and his number. Like, okay, being on a yellow, obviously everybody knows this is a second yellow. Frimpong comes to him and says, like, what are you doing? Put that shirt back on. He gets sent off. Slot doesn't even look at him when he comes off the pitch, and rightly so. Slot is really angry, saying after the game, like, if you score Champions League, you go in the Champions League final, like the 87th minute, top corner,
and you haven't been booked.
And you're not on a yellow. Messi did it in a Clasico, a 5-0 win, not on a yellow. Fekir did it in the derby, not on a yellow after a great goal. Ekitike, don't do it like this. Now he's sent off and suspended for the game against Crystal Palace on the weekend. Well, he would have started, by the way.
Would you? And Palace, of course, as we saw, capable of creating major problems for Liverpool. Also, shout out to Wataru Endo. That was one of the most uncoordinated, weirdo headers.
The header for the goal.
I don't think he's ever going to do it again.
Yeah, definitely not. And Gab, in that game, Giovanni Leoni made his first start for Liverpool, but came off injured with an ACL injury, unfortunately for him. It's a long time on the sidelines. And also, you were concerned before about the depth of squad defensively for Liverpool. That is making it worse.
Yeah, look, I feel really bad whenever, anybody getting injured is horrible, but also on your first start.
Yeah.
And like I said this before, if they couldn't get Gay, they should have had an alternate plan. And I still think there's more mysteries to come about that one. They are definitely short-handed. Joe Gomez, it's Joe Gomez and Endo.
Gravenberch,
or if you want to move Gravenberch. But then Gravenberch, the problem with Gravenberch is if he plays at the back, he can't play midfield at the same time. He's good, but he's not that good.
Yeah.
So this is something that can really hurt you. It can hurt you in the Champions League. It can hurt you in the league. You have to pray that, Van Dijk and Konate. Van Dijk is older. Virgil, years past for him too. It's a big ask of him and his body. You wonder how he's going to be later in the season if he has to play every minute now. So, I think they just made a bad situation even worse. Now, remember last spring you said Ousmane Dembele was the best player in the world, Jules.
My boy.
And now he won the Ballon d'Or.
Oh, I'm so happy for him and his family and everybody, including at PSG. Well-deserved, I think. The best player in the best team in the world. Best player for what he did on the pitch, the goals and the assists, obviously, but all the pressing, counter-pressing, everything. He's a remarkable man off the field as well. So I was super happy. It was between him and Lamine, and I can understand while I mean, I can understand Lamine disappointment for sure, because when you come so close, but Lamine Yamal is
You
going to
agree
win.
with Lamine's dad too that
Definitely
this is a
not.
big
And that's what I
moral
was going to
injustice.
say. Lamine is going to win the Ballon d'Or next year or the year after. It's inevitable. He's 18. He's going to win more than one. For Lamine Yamal's dad to come out and say, this is a theft, this is like robbery, I'm like, please, come on. Your son is a genius. Take nothing away from Dembele, who had an incredible year. Lamine Yamal was not even La Liga's best player last season. How can he be the best player in the world when he's not even the best player in his own league? So
Some might say in his own, Rafinha might say,
yeah,
not even
exactly,
in his own team.
Exactly. So his time will come for sure, but for now, it's Ousmane Dembele's world, and we're all living in it.
He's a wonderful story, the way he was a phenomenon at 18, 19, and then things went badly off the rails. I think he had some bad advice. I don't think he behaved very well in certain situations. I think he had injuries, and then to come back like this, it just speaks to his growth. It's a wonderful human story. As with the whole award ceremony, I like seeing DJ Snake.
Paris born and bred.
And when they gave the award for Team of the Year, and you have former Palermo legend, and by the way, Javier, you didn't give a shout out to Palermo among your former teams. That was disappointing.
Yeah,
Javier Pastore and DJ Snake up there. I wonder who's going to win this award.
I mean, I don't know who else would have won that award of Team of the Year, Men's Team of the Year anyway. But and meanwhile, Gabi Aitana Monmalti scoops up the Women's Ballon d'Or. She has 3 of these at home now, 3 in a row.
Yeah, I don't think there was much argument here. What I think is remarkable about Aitana, and like you follow women's football more than I do, is how quietly she just excels everybody else. If you compare to previous winners like Alexia all the way back to Ada Hegerberg or whatever, there was so much hype. She seems so understated.
Yeah.
But then she makes a difference every time she's on the pitch.
Although she lost 2 big finals too. And Mariana Caldente won 1 of the 2. Alicia Russo won the 2 of 2.
Okay.
So I don't think it was a given.
Ones, penalties.
Yeah,
blah,
but it was
blah,
not a given.
blah.
I think that she would win it, and we don't know. Certainly, I haven't seen how close or not the others were behind her. But she's an incredible talent. She's maybe one of the greatest ever in the women's game.
I would have given it to Alessia simply because she's an Italy fan. Jules, we're not done. We have more quick hits. Mikel Arteta got a ton of stick for his supposedly overly cautious approach against Manchester City. How did he look against Port Vale in the League Cup? Or should we just scrap talking about the League Cup and talk about William Saliba and the new contract, which according to Fabrizio Romano, who credited David Ornstein for originally reporting this, he has signed or is about to sign or has agreed?
Yeah, I mean, I knew it'd been agreed.
4 years, we think?
Yes, an extra 4 years, I think. With just, Saliba, I think, wanted to commit his future to the club. There was never in his mind an idea of leaving, going to Real Madrid with a year left on his contract next year, or things like that, or forcing a move out. He's very happy in London. He's very happy at Arsenal with Mikel Arteta, who started him against Port Vale with a very strong Arsenal team, to be fair, who played 50% of their ability to...
He made him earn his new
win.
deal.
Yeah, to win.
It's like Christian Norgard's playing. It's like, look, Zubi, you get the day off. No, William, you're out there.
To be fair, William had come back, could do with a little bit of a run out. So it was good, and I don't really understand the stick for Arteta. Yes, he chose control first before anything else, but he was still Manchester City. He was still Pep Guardiola. And in the end, nobody knows if he had gone with Eze from the start and Saka, if Arsenal would have won or not. He would have maybe been more open. And that's not what he wanted. So I can completely understand his point of view.
I don't think it's as simple as saying, like, oh, Eze should have started, Saka should have started. I think that's really puerile. I think he got slightly outfoxed, perhaps, because obviously City took the lead, played on the counter.
Yeah,
he did not expect City to be so defensive.
That's very true.
And he didn't adjust his game plan with the players he had out there to go and create more chances.
Yeah, that's true.
What I didn't like personally was him saying, oh, no, we dominated them. Domination means you're creating chance after chance, right? It doesn't mean that you're just passing, you just have a lot of possession.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Chelsea stink it up, away to third flight Lincoln City in the League Cup and go goal down at half-time before Tariq George and Facundo Buonanotte turn it around. But Enzo Maresca was still not happy.
No, I hope he was furious. It made him lose all his hair.
Yeah.
It was a horrendous first half. I don't think it was much better in the second. Tariq George scored an absolute worldie.
Yeah.
I want this guy to get more respect. Because
the one they tried to sell in the summer.
Yeah.
Hardly. Yeah.
But honestly, I look at that and I know that they're making transfer moves they've financialized all their players. They're simply assets that they go and they move around so they can reach PSR. But I look at this, and Gittins, and Facundo Buonanotte, and and Garnacho. There's no rhyme or reason to any of this, right? And here's Tyreek George, and he can do a job for you at center forward. It's not his natural position, maybe, but guess what? Like, you can adjust. You can do it. Enzo Fernandez, he's got a major problem. I think a lot of people are turning on him. That pass across the back four, which is like the first thing you're taught not to do. And the less said about Philip Jorgensen.
I mean, that was his chance, really.
Oh my goodness. More than once.
Yeah.
Paris Saint-Germain stumble away to Marseille in a game rescheduled from Sunday due to bad weather. Jules, plenty of injuries, but still, this was not Lucas Chevalier's finest hour. I wonder if Donnarumma had a little giggle.
Yeah.
No, because he was getting the prize for best goalkeeper in the world.
True, although Donnarumma made a mistake on the Arsenal goal at the weekend as well, but the Chevalier did a Donnarumma in the sense that he tried to come out of the ball on a corner, missed it. I mean, it was 14 years since Marseille beat PSG in Marseille at the Velodrome, so it was about time, I guess. And De Zerbi used a high press in the first half, very aggressive, that worked. Second half, they defended for their lives and defended well, to be fair, against the PSG team that lacked a bit of desire, creativity, probably a bit of talent. Luis Enrique going for a back three, probably not the right time and not the right place to try to do it.
Not the right center forward either.
Yeah, so in the end, well done to Marseille for winning this and using the old school, like it's us against them. Let's make your battle. Let's go and win this for our fans. Let's make the stadium incandescent and all of that, which worked. So,
are you going to pick on De Zerbi for getting needlessly sent off?
I was so pumped, wasn't it? So hyped, man. It was just like you knew it was inevitable. Napoli stayed perfect in Serie A with a 3-2 win over Pisa. But Gab, was this more uncomfortable than Antonio Conte would have liked?
Look, I think Pisa attacked them, and they didn't like that.
Yeah.
And they didn't expect it. I mean, in the end, more uncomfortable. It's 1-1, then they're 3-1 up, and then the goal comes at the end. I think if you're Conte, you take away the positives. He did. We saw. For a minute, I thought, is bad Conte coming back when he was talking about the summer, and he's like, we didn't have a huge summer transfer campaign. We simply had to make the squad bigger because we're back in Europe. Which it's like, other than De Bruyne, look at the guys we bought, and it's like,
come on.
You could avoid saying that. Nice to see Lorenzo Luca come on and score a goal. I said this. Until Lukaku comes back, alternating Luca and Højlund Luca gives you something different.
Yeah.
Monchi is out. OUT out at Aston Villa. Not that long ago, he was considered a transfer genius who could do no wrong.
Yeah, after 2 years at the club, Gabi, let's see what happens. Is it the beginning of the end, really, for this kind of Unai Emery, Monchi's project? I don't know, but if you look at the players that Monchi signed, Onana, not good, certainly not a success.
I think Onana's really good.
But he hasn't been that good for Aston Villa.
Hasn't. But I blame Emery for that.
At £60 million, or 60 million euros, sorry. Moussa Diaby, not good. Ian Madsen, not a starter. Pau Torres, okay. Evan Gerson has just arrived. Daniel Malen on the bench. Samuel Ealing Jr., let's not go there. Lewis Dobbin, let's not go there. And then Morgan Rogers, okay. That is the one signing.
He did all right with John Duran too, but yes, I take your point.
Yeah, but John Duran was not signed by Monchi though. So
right.
yeah. So and neither was Dibu Martinez either. So I'm just like, okay. And I don't know why he leaves now. Is it because of the start of the season has been so bad?
They've been so careful to kind of backpedal on it, saying, well, no, he's still going to remain as an advisor to the group, meaning an advisor to Nassef Sawiris. Look, the way I see it, this is normally something that you do when you don't want to pay out the rest of the contract.
Exactly.
Stay as an advisor. We'll pay you your salary over time.
Yes.
I think the relationship between him and Unai Emery soured. And I think Unai Emery dumped a lot of responsibility on him.
Yeah,
because
probably.
Unai Emery can be sneaky that way.
Yeah,
sometimes.
but then Unai Emery also knows how things are working for Villa and the financial issues that they are under.
Right? Does he?
Well,
I wonder. He should. He should.
Yeah.
So dumping all of this on Monchi, I don't know.
No.
Also, they're going with Monchi's mate,
yeah.
Roberto Labe, which also seems kind of like
Who was our Real Sociedad? Yeah, who's
I know.
a Basque. Yeah.
Exactly. And Olabe's had some ups and downs,
Too.
some questions. Independiente del Valle, remember that?
Yeah. Milan rolled to a 3-0 win over Lecce. Santi Jimenez finally scores. Christopher Nkunku shines as well, and Christian Pulisic also bags a goal. 4 wins in a row now for Allegri.
Yeah, 4 wins in a row. His back threes working. And Nkunku looked good.
Lovely goal.
You're playing against Lecce, which, you got to take that with a grain of salt. I'm happy for Santi Jimenez because I think he got so much abuse. And I think he does have an upside if you stick with him. Pulisic is absolutely on fire. It's amazing when you rest the guy. And again, not to pick on Poch, but seriously, this is the guy who you think is a problem for your national team? Come on. Absolutely absurd. Julian Alvarez looked grumpy at being substituted last weekend. Clearly, that motivated him as he bagged a hat-trick in the 3-2 win over Rayo.
Yeah, pretty good goals as well, Gabi. And more importantly, I guess, because once again, this was difficult for Atletico Madrid, who took the lead and then found themselves behind 2-1 with 10 minutes to go. And then he had to rescue them and win this game for them, really. So he was obviously not happy with El Cholo at the weekend, saying, why is it always me that you took out first? In this game, El Cholo was right to leave him on the pitch for the whole 90 minutes or so because he scored a hat-trick. That saves El Cholo, really, because not winning this game would have been really bad.
We don't have pictures in this podcast, but guess what? There's this thing called YouTube. Go and watch the highlights. Go and marvel at Alvarez's third goal and
the first one as well, the volley.
Well, no, so Rayo's equal. The guy
Chavaya?
who shoots from
incredible.
When I first saw it, I'm like, is he shooting from the halfway line?
Yeah,
Not
incredible.
quite the halfway line, but close to it.
Yeah.
Some tremendous goals. Rayo play really good football, by the way.
Team, yeah. Roma nearly threw it away against Nice in the Europa League, conceding a late penalty before winning 2-1. But Gab, it's all about the magnificent Dante. I mean, the only good thing about Nice, just about breaking records.
Yeah, I mean, I say they nearly threw it away. They gave Pizzilli was kind of stupid giving away the penalties. Maybe inexperience or tune a lot, whatever, and then it gets slightly hairy at the end. Dante, 42 years young.
Incredible.
Jules, he's like your age, roughly.
Yeah,
right?
He's the oldest outfield player ever in Europa League history.
And
it's pretty cool.
I mean, he's playing at a high level. I mean, again, like people, Nice, Jim Ratcliffe, yada, yada, yada.
Who was there, by the way? Didn't look happy, obviously.
He was there.
Yeah, I'm even amazed that he was there.
Wonder what he was doing.
I had
guess,
nothing else to do that night, so Wednesday night.
United in the League Cup, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Sticking with that game, Jules, more than 100 arrests in Nice, mostly of Roma supporters. They found a whole cache of weapons as well. It's the night before the match.
Yeah, a lot of issues.
Like 1970. Were we back in the 1970s?
Yeah, I think so, Gabi. A lot of troubles. Obviously, Nice is close to Italy. It's almost Italy.
Used to be Italy, in fact. I was going to
say, it was Italy for a long time. I don't know. I think the worst was avoided because it could have been far worse if the ultras of the two clubs, and the Nice ultras, by the way, are not angels either, if they had properly found each other and had a proper fight. But still, it's kind of, again, scenes that you don't want to see before a football match, during a football match, after a football match, nothing around football. So
I have a lot of times, like I have a lot of time for fans and for ultras and whatever. When you bring weapons the night before, there's two things. What encourages me is, I'm going to purely speculate here, but while I have the greatest of respect for the French police, there is no way they're like, "Ooh, what's this?" And then they open the back of a van, the weapons fall out. Clearly, they had informants.
Yeah.
And I think that's important and encouraging. You bring a weapon to an away trip in football, that's it. You get a lifetime ban. I mean, I think it's it's as simple as that. And I'm glad that this was avoided. And these guys, I'm assuming, will all get banning orders.
You would think so,
some should get criminal charges as well.
Yeah. It's me. Former FIFA Vice President Jack Warner will not be extradited to face trials in the US. Gab, a 10-year battle comes to an end.
Yeah, so for those who forget the battle days of FIFA, Jack Warner, who was banned for life by FIFA in 2015 after the scandal, the Borlaug, he was also indicted in the US. But of course, the nice thing is if you're not a U.S. citizen, you don't set foot on U.S. soil,
Yeah.
you don't got to worry about it. So
And
they've
stay
been
in
trying to
Trinidad and
extradite him.
Tobago.
Yeah, for 10 years, and he's staying in Trinidad and Tobago. Not a bad place to be.
Definitely not.
As Shaka Hislop often reminds us.
Yeah.
And they tried to go through the courts. Eventually, the courts. By the way, as I discovered, I'm not a lawyer, so as you know.
Yeah.
But I think the highest Trinidad and Tobago court, something to do with the Commonwealth, still like relates back, or they have to get approval or appointed by people here in the UK, which is weird. But anyway, yeah, in the end, he stays there, and he's a wonderful quote. He says, "I could never get back the lost reputation, which has happened to me. My life can now begin afresh, but it's 10 years too late." No, you know what? The reason you won't get back your lost reputation is the reason that you were banned from FIFA.
Yeah.
Everybody can see that. Everybody can see the records and so on. The fact that you were denied extradition, they couldn't bring a case against you, doesn't mean that it's not real. Your reputation is garbage now.
Yeah.
And rightly so. And no, you won't get it back.
Because of what you did, yeah.
Nor
exactly.
should you get it back.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Absolutely.
you know what? You could have collaborated. You could have opened your mouth and you could have said, "Oh, look, we did this and this and that. Can we strike a deal?" You didn't. You chose not to do that.
Yeah.
So I have zero sympathy for him. João Paulinho plays center back and scores with an overhead kick. Jules, it's stuff you don't expect to see in Spurs' 3-0 home win over Doncaster.
Exactly. You don't. And it was good because Thomas Frank changed the teams. The players who don't play much or play in different positions to play. It was good. Doncaster were never going to threaten Spurs in their own stadium anyway. We even got to see one of the brightest talent in the Spurs Academy and for England too, because he plays for England under 16, called Luca Williams-Barnett, who's 16, made his debut for the first team. He's a number 10 that has a great future ahead of him. So it was one of those nights where it was good all around for Tottenham.
And we got to see my boy Wilson Odobert, who I don't understand why he doesn't get into the team all the time with Vic, because he's really, really good.
Yeah, very good. Phil Foden and Savinho are on the mark as Manchester City beat Huddersfield away 2-0 in the League Cup still. Gab, are you sensing a Foden turnaround? 3 goals in 3 games, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, the first one 2 games ago, he didn't do very much other than that.
Or 3 and 4, yeah.
It's a long, I think it's a long road back because people remember just how dominant he was in the year when he was Player of the Year 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But he definitely has a role to play on this team. I could imagine him, as Bernardo Silva gracefully ages, he could maybe become the Silva type in that midfield. I still want to see the wingers. I want to see the fast guys. Give me Jeremy Doku, right? Give me Jeremy Doku. Give me Haaland. On the other wing, I don't care. Oscar, Bob, Savinho, whatever. Maybe Foden in some situations. But I think the future going forward is if you have Reinders, and then you find space for him. I mean, Cherokee can be on the other, whatever. You could find a solution, but he can be really central to the plan because he can bring so much. He just has to, hopefully he stays fit. Hopefully stuff in his private life is okay. He can focus on the football, make a difference. But he is such a talent.
Yeah.
Jules, you were an early member of the Diego Gomez fan club, as I recall. You got all excited when he signed for Brighton.
Yes.
Did almost nothing for Brighton since then.
But that's me.
He started 4 games last season.
I know, but he's trying to find his place. He only arrived in January.
I think he has 5 league starts in total for Brighton. But you must be delighted with his 4 goals for Brighton.
Well, yeah, some quality as well. I think he's a great player. Just finding, his feet in English football for Brighton, where there's also a lot of competition, a lot of talent. But I love him, and he's going to go to the World Cup as well this summer. So this is really, really good.
I mean, yeah, you don't expect 4 goals. And I think it's as many goals you'd scored in the previous 18 months.
Karl-Heinz Rummenigge channels his inner Uli Hoeneß and says that he feels sorry for Florian Wirtz for joining Liverpool, believing he would have been much better at Bayern, obviously, and he says that the price from Stuttgart for Nick Woltemade was madness. Gab, can you see where he's coming from?
Yeah, like I said, he's coming from Uli Hoeneß's house.
They talk so much, those two, man.
I get it. You thought you weren't willing to go beyond a certain point for Voldemort. Newcastle were. If Newcastle were wrong about it, they'll look stupid.
Yeah.
If they were right about it, then you look dumb.
Yeah.
Fair enough. You don't need to keep justifying this Voldemort stuff. As for Florian Wirtz, I get where you're coming from in one way. Keep the talents at home in Germany, and you had a nice plan in Wirtz and Musiala with Kane, and and then we dominate everything. While there are reasons, I think, to wonder about how long it's going to take him to find his position on the pitch at Liverpool. You know my thoughts on that. We don't need to go through that again. But that said, again, I like the fact that they talk and that they're open, and that's how they feel about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I have to agree with what they say,
No,
but
definitely.
yeah, I wish executives in this country would talk too.
Yeah.
But
I
they
agree.
don't.
I agree.
Anthony ruins the day for Mr. Marinakis and Ange Postecoglou with a late equalizer as Betis and Nottingham Forest draw 2-2. Jules, I thought Forest looked pretty good.
In the first half, yeah. Then they stopped playing. I don't know why they stopped playing. They went from the first half with more possession, an XG of 2 point something, chances created, shots on target, everything, to a second half when they had nothing. I think they had 2 shots, 30% of the ball, just invited the pressure, and inevitably, because Betis are a good, decent team, especially at home, Anthony with a lovely goal on his right foot too, by the way. So strange how from one half to another where it's just 2 complete different approaches and teams, and that's 4 games for Ange, still no wins in all competitions. I don't know. I was very amazed and surprised by that second half, how poor they were.
I think Mr. Marinakis needs to spend more time in the dressing room, maybe without expectorating and spitting on the floor, but just helping Ange to motivate the players and providing his valuable input.
Jose Mourinho made his home debut for Benfica against Rio Ave and had to settle for a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, and I know the haters are going to say, look, Jose, you can't beat Rio Ave at first. Bring back Bruno. The reality is, if you watch the highlights, Andre Luiz scored an absolute worldie in injury time to equalize. Expected goals were like 2.70. There's many reasons you can criticize Mourinho if you want.
Yeah.
This was not one of them.
Yeah.
Inter Miami and Lionel Messi are going to the playoffs, Jules. He bags 2 goals en route to a 4-0 hammering of New York City FC.
Yeah, he's got 24 goals in 23 games in MLS, as you put it in my notes for me.
But you already knew that?
Yeah, Luis Suarez was back. And in his absence, I loved Messi as a number 9 or false number 9, call it, because I think he was very good in previous games too. He was back into a more second striker, number 10 position with 2 lines of 4 behind them too. And this worked well. I don't know if this is a team good enough with Rodrigo De Paul and Busquets, for example, the 2 double pivot, to go far in this competition. As we saw earlier in the season, in various competitions, they can be undone as well. But when Messi's in that kind of form, to be fair, I'm not sure who can stop him either. So it'd be interesting.
I am wondering when, I know Messi's a goal, but when somebody of that age is averaging more than a goal a game in your league.
Yeah, what do you say about your league? I mean,
what does it say? I can't make my mind. Like, I mean, you have to know. Like, if Messi played in, it's even hard to compare with Europe, because if Messi played in La Liga and he played, say, for Barcelona, he would score. Maybe he wouldn't score a goal a game, but he'd score a ton of goals.
Probably,
because but then it's because you're playing with a dominant team.
Yeah.
In MLS, where all the teams are equal, in terms of resources, more or less, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I was just looking at when I was in the States. I did something I rarely do. I looked at the MLS standings, and I always use a benchmark. 2 points a game. Normally, in major European, 2 points average per match.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Most European leagues, you have the top 3 or 4 teams that are around that, or usually the winners are like around 2.4, 2.5. I think when I looked at it, there was nobody who even had 2 points a game. So it is a very level league.
Yeah, everybody can beat each other.
That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah. Bild in Germany reports that Felix Metscher is in trouble with his club, Borussia Dortmund. Gab, what did he do?
So I find this pretty remarkable. So Felix Metscher is a committed Christian. He's a big fan of Charlie Kirk. And after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, he took to social media, issued his condolences.
Yeah.
Some people didn't like it, presumably due to Charlie Kirk's political leanings or whatever. And according to Bild, he was called in by Lars Ricken and Sebastian Kehl, obviously, and the sporting director, and the other one some other title, which is like sporting director.
Yeah.
And he's told, this has caused unrest within the club. And that in the future, he needs to submit his post to the social media team for approval. Now, listen, I get that free speech doesn't mean that you have the freedom of speech, but it doesn't mean you have the freedom of a platform.
Yeah.
But he's on social media. It's his platform. I know he represents the club. Unless it's specifically written into his contract, He didn't say anything offensive. It doesn't expressing condolences because somebody was killed, even if you disagree with them, I think is problematic. I think they shot themselves in the foot. Now, Borussia Dortmund obviously have a historically working class left leaning fan base. Maybe they don't like it. They're free not to like Felix and Mecha or not to like his opinions.
Yeah.
But to go and say like you're like a child. Now, again, unless you sign a contract saying I will not speak about anything remotely political or non-football related, which presumably he didn't do.
I don't think so.
Then I think they really shot themselves in the foot. Yeah. I read his post. I didn't see any issue with it.
No. I agree with you.
Anyway, that's them. Jules, this brings us to an end, but we got to come back because it is another loaded weekend across the big 5 leagues in Europe and beyond, including the Madrid derby. How about that? Vamos Cholo! So we're going to be back on Monday. Until then, love the game, love your neighbor, love yourself.